This girl's first car was a pink Range Rover, and apparently people say it's daddy's money. Now, here's the thing, that's an interesting looking car. Personally, I think Range Rovers are typically one of the worst cars to ever drive just because they're not really reliable. They're extremely expensive and get really bad gas mileage. But that is a personal opinion. Not everyone is driving their mom's minivan when they get their driver's license. After passing her test in April, Georgia Portogallo, kind of sounds like a sandwich, from the UK showed off her first set of wheels, a pricey Range Rover. And this is my biggest negative in terms of Range Rovers. Like, they're way overpriced for what they are. I think some Range Rovers are like six figures plus, like brand new. It's like, I don't know. Personally, I'd rather have like a used Lamborghini than a Range Rover. So she made a car tour TikTok video where she explained that the luxury vehicle was originally red, but she opted for pink. In the clip, the 21-year-old points out one of her favorite features of the car, a glass roof that lets light in. The video, which is approaching 1 million views, was filled with comments as viewers didn't understand where the money to purchase such a high end car came from. What I don't understand is how did you manage to afford this car? One person asked in the comment section. Portogolo replied underneath the comment, because I work hard. And the thing is, I think the combination of her and the car actually looks pretty good, right? So like if she has like a boyfriend or a husband or something like that, this probably looks really cool to him, right? That being said, this is a lot of money for a car. I don't know what she does for a living, but this car is not cheap, especially if it's brand new. So some people weren't convinced and commented that her father bought it for her. Daddy's money, someone wrote. She shot back at them, because it shouldn't be shoot, it should be shot, past tense. Back at them with a reply, and what part of this video makes you assume that? Because I'm a young girl, does it mean I can't work hard and make my own money? According to her website, Portugola owns her own business, which she started in 2018, that helps social media influencers grow their platform. And despite the backlash, many have expressed their admiration for Portogolo and said they wanted to do something similar to her. I aspire to get a car like this for my first car, one person commented. And here's the thing, right? Like there's nothing wrong to like aspire to try to get something cool for your very first car. But we also got to understand too, if you were to put all of your money into like a car like this instead of like growing a business or like putting money in towards like investments or to like your first house, like you could end up actually financially destroying yourself. Like you could like put yourself so far back financially if you were to put all of your money into a car like this. And the problem is, I have seen people where they put all their money in a extremely nice car that they can basically barely afford because it makes them look rich. It makes them look better than they're actually doing. But if you're like making 2, 3 grand a month, but you're spending like 700, 800 bucks on a car payment, like you're spreading yourself extremely thin to the point of like barely surviving. Like it gets so crazy what people are willing to do to try to drive the car that they want to drive. Like there's people out there that would literally live or barely live, I should say, basically eating like half a block of ramen, right? Per day. Like barely surviving just so that they could drive a brand new car because they think it looks cool. Like there's some crazy people out there. And what I gotta say is that you gotta be really careful. And like it really all depends on how much you're making. Like for example, if her business is doing really well, let's say this might be a massive figure, but it might not even be true. Let's say that she's making half a million a year after taxes. Like I'm just tossing that number out there. She could afford to buy this car without that big of a deal, right? But if she's making only like $40,000 a year after tax, she should not be buying this type of car. If you're making $200,000 a year after tax, you could buy this car, but you really shouldn't, right? Like that's the thing that you got to really keep in mind because you also got to keep in mind that typically every brand new car, every type of car, these luxury cars, these supercars, all that kind of stuff, right? Typically go down in value by a disturbingly high amount. Like I've seen cars before where brand new sticker price is over MSRP for like $150,000, and then with the next 5 years, that car is not even worth 60. Like, it's crazy. Why? Because a lot of these cars are not rare. A lot of these cars are just basically a nice backpack. Like, it's just an item that is mass produced that the only difference is just the price of the vehicle. Like, that is the only difference, right? Like, it's crazy what people are willing to do. But as long as, she makes a good enough money to cover this without doing any sort of damage to herself financially, then there's no problem with her buying a car like that or anything like that. So let's see. A pink Land Rover. Couldn't think of anything actually useful to do with the money. Sad stuff. Yeah, but it has one of her favorite features of the car, a glass roof that lets light in. Can you believe that? Glass that lets light in. Can't make that up. Make it up. Not daddy's money, OnlyFans money. I don't think she does OnlyFans. I don't think so. Because she could probably be making a lot of money from OnlyFans, I'm guessing, if she has a good social media following. Given her obvious the quotes, daddy issues, I wouldn't say it's daddy's money, but she refuses to say where the money comes from, which is a clear indicator she didn't earn it. Saying I work hard proves that. Well, apparently she has a business. Does she want people to look at her car or her? You think maybe she should be walking a little as well? If she wants to get rid of the spare tire in her trunk, ain't nothing wrong. I gotta say, some of these comments are kind of weird. She looks like 7 pounds in a 3 pound sack. Whatever that means. Last month in a grocery store parking lot, I saw a woman in a 50K plus Dodge Charger Scat Pack that was custom painted Barbie pink, meaning it had sparkles in the paint if that's what Barbie pink is. I got pretty angry at this site and almost said something sarcastically, but then my thought was, it's not her fault. It's the fault of the paint shop that painted the car. What kind of person or business could paint a Scat Pack Barbie pink is beyond imagination. There should be laws against this sort of thing. Now, here's the thing, like, this is like the personal viewpoint, right? Here's the thing, people have the right to spend their money how they want to spend their money. Like, I've seen where people go like absolutely crazy if like a person with their own money buys like a Lamborghini and then customizes that Lamborghini with like aftermarket parts, right? Like wide body kits or paints it like an absurd color, and people go ballistic for that. But the reality is, if that person can truly afford to buy that car and afford all these customizations, you don't really get to dictate what they do with their money, right? Like imagine if someone after you bought something, try to tell you what to do with your money. Like, let's say that you were making, I don't know, like, again, half a million a year after taxes, and you went and bought a brand new Mustang GT, right? And you just customize that thing into like orange. I don't know. Orange kind of makes it look like a one of those like orange ice cream pops. Okay. You could go ahead and do that. Might look really weird, but if you have the money to do it and it's not harming yourself financially, then go ahead and do it. Like, other people's opinions shouldn't really matter in that context. I agree with the daddy money statement. Clearly, she can't pass a KFC without pulling in, so saving up would have been difficult. I'm guessing that's like a comment to try to like fat shame her. I'm guessing that's what Lynn Cheney says. Interesting. Here's the thing: like, I don't really have any like personal viewpoints on her or what she does or does not do. The thing is, as long as she makes enough money to where buying something like this and doing something as weird as having a pink Range Rover, as long as she can financially handle the burden where it doesn't harm herself or her family, if she has a family or if she's married and all that kind of stuff, that's really all that matters, right? Like, you just never want to do something financially that screws yourself. If you want to learn how to get a debt, master your money, go down below. Feel free to give your thoughts on this whole thing. Personally, I would not have ever bought a Range Rover. Two, I would have never colored a car pink. That's my personal situation.